Welcome to PromagEnviro.com.
Hi, we're back to present the maintenance section for the Classic Series single head adjustable pump. Before we get started, there's something that we need to cover, right, Karen?
That's right, Bill. Before working on a pump, always follow the complete safety and operating instructions in the installation and maintenance manual.
And don't forget the required personal protective safety equipment. Use of this safety equipment is mandatory.
In addition to the precautions that come with your pump, you must always follow the recommendations of the chemical manufacturer or the material safety data sheet, and check local codes for additional guidelines.
Preparing the metering pump for service can vary by application, but in general will consist of the following steps. Pump a compatible buffer solution through the pump for several minutes to clean the chemical from the lines. Turn the motor on-off switch to the off position, which is down or to the rear of the pump. Disconnect the suction line from the pump tube suction fitting labeled in the pump head cover. Before disconnecting the discharge side, bleed off any pressure. Then, disconnect the discharge line from the pump tube discharge fitting, labeled out on the pump head cover. Unplug the power cord. If the power cord plug end has been removed, modified, or the metering pump has been directly wired, do not continue. Consult an electrician to aid in disconnecting the pump from the electrical supply and to properly reconnect the pump's electrical supply.
On the phone.
Now we're going to see how to properly replace the pump tube. All safety procedures and warnings need to be followed before performing any work on the metering pump.
To remove the pump tube, remove and set aside the pump head cover and screws. Set the feed rate control dial on setting L or 1. Turn the pump on and let it run until one of 3 roller assembly slots line up with the tube fitting on the suction side. Turn the pump off. Lift the tube fitting out of the housing slot and pull it toward the center of the roller assembly. Then, turn the pump on and allow the roller assembly to jog while guiding the tube with tension up and out of the housing. Turn the pump off. Remove and discard the pump tube. Remove the roller assembly, shaft, and housing. Use a non-citrus all-purpose cleaner to clean chemical residue from the pump head housing, roller assembly, and cover. Check the housing for cracks. Replace if cracked. Ensure the rollers turn freely. Replace the roller assembly if the rollers are seized or worn, or if there is a reduction or lack of output from the pump. Reinstall the clean tube housing. Apply AquaShield to the shaft tip and install. Install the roller assembly. Do not lubricate the pump tube or roller assembly. Identify the cause of tube failure prior to installing a new tube. For example, if a tube failure was caused by blockage in the suction line, clear the blockage and be sure to use the Stenner weighted strainer to keep it 3 inches from the bottom of the tank. To install the pump tube, manually rotate the roller assembly counterclockwise to align one of 3 roller assembly slots with the suction side housing slot. Place the tube fitting into the suction side slot of the housing and the roller assembly slot. With the pump setting on L or 1, hold the tube fitting and jog the roller assembly by turning the pump on. It is important to avoid rotating your wrist, which can result in a twisted tube that will not center. Do not force the tube, and be careful of your fingers. Guide the tube with a slight tension toward the center to prevent pinching between the housing and roller assembly. If the tube is pinched during installation, discard it and start over with a new tube. When the tube reaches the discharge tube housing slot, turn the pump off. Turn the dial ring to setting 10. hold the tube fitting firmly. Do not pull, and turn the pump on. While holding the tube fitting firmly, without pulling, allow the rollers to stretch the tube into place while guiding the tube into the slot. Turn the pump off. A used tube will have stretched approximately 3/4 of an inch, and the new tube will appear to be stiff and short, which is why it's important to follow the directions to allow the rollers to stretch the tube into place. Apply a small amount of Aqua Shield to the cover bushing only, and replace the cover in 2 screws, leaving the front screw between the fittings loose. The cover screws are self-tapping and must be backed in to locate original threads before securing. If a screw boss is stripped, use alternate bosses that are positioned opposite from each other. Never secure the cover plate with more than 2 screws. The tube housing needs room to flex when the rollers turn so the pump head doesn't crack. To help prevent a split along the side of the tube mentioned earlier in this segment, an important step in replacing the tube is centering it. To center the pump tube on the rollers, ensure the feed rate control dial is set to 10 and turn the pump on. Turn the tube fitting on the suction side not more than 1/8 of a turn in the direction the tube must move. Do not let go of the fitting until the tube rides approximately in the center of the rollers. Turn the pump off and let go of the fitting. Tighten the cover screws finger tight only. The cover is not on securely if there is a gap between the screw boss and the cover. To install a new tube in the Classic Series fixed output pump, follow the instructions for the adjustable pump and utilize the on-off switch to jog the roller assembly in the absence of the feed rate control.
Free shipping is available through our website at PromagEnviro.com.